What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. So, what we have here now is a young lady admitting to something. So, apparently, she decides to get a divorce, and her father will not allow her to come back under his covering. So, basically she went off on her own, chose her own husband, which, the father, with, I guess, in her culture they may have had an arranged situation that the father was trying to, marry her with a gentleman that he probably vetted properly and wanted her to, be with, because he knew that she was going to be well taken care of and he would be a good asset to the family. So we're going to dive off into this. We're going to see what's going on. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
My father refused to take me back after I told him I want to leave my marriage. And here are three reasons why. He said that I chose the partner. Nobody chose it for me. It was never arranged marriage. And I convinced my entire family to accept him, even when they all had wanted nothing to do with him. So I got to go back, rethink why I convinced everybody that I wanted to marry this person, and stick to that. The second reason was because he said that marriage is not built on feelings. Feelings comes and feelings go. Marriage is built on duties, responsibility, and honoring your vows. You said you're going to stick through thickness and thin, good times and in bad, and these are the times you got to stick together.
So I don't see nothing wrong with what her father told her. Technically, that's what marriages were built on for all these thousands of years until we came to this point right now in today's society to where, we think that marriages and unions, basically, marriage unions, it's all the same. Her father had probably vetted that young man for a specific purpose. He probably would have been a good asset to his family, and his daughter would have been a good asset to her, what's supposed to be her husband's family. And these are the ways that cultures and not only families have been built for so long and stuff like that, and alliances have been built, even with kingdoms and all these other types of things that have been going on, not just breaking it down to even average people and stuff like that throughout the generations and the centuries and things. We marry the people that were beneficial to each other's family. And I get it. Nobody likes that type of thought process anymore and stuff like that. I get that, but it's stupid. And this is the reason why it's stupid. You want to marry into another family, and this goes for both men and women. You want to marry into another family that's going to be beneficial for your family, and you're going to be beneficial to theirs. That's how good communities get built. That's how alliances get engaged with one another, and communities thrive off that type of thinking. And we're out here nowadays allowing all this willy-nilly shit to go on. It's no real community anymore. It's no alliances that are being built to produce good individuals and decent people that are willing to work, thrive, invent, and create things that, not only society needs, but community needs and families need. And this is where we at right here. So yeah, let's listen more to what she has to say about her trying to denounce the dude that she chose to marry versus what her family, versus the probably the gentleman that her family was trying to marry her off to. Let's keep going.
So long as you stick to committing to your duties and responsibility, a wife has a duty over her husband, and a husband has duties over her wives. So long as you're both honoring that and treating each other with the bare minimum kindness, that's all that it takes to maintain marriage. Eventually, when those are honored, love will come eventually, because love is like a sea. There are waves up and down, they come and go.
Right. And that's the thing, though. Nobody wants to go through the ups and downs and stuff like that in today's society. But, everybody wants the end outcome of what it means to have marriages. And a lot of people have given up today on marriage and stuff like that. That's also due to the fact, and I'm going to say this right now, that marriage is mostly conjugated through the state and not through God. But see, listen, look, you have to follow me on this aspect right here. God ordained marriage. Sorry, but it's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? Whether we like it or not, the state uses marriage as a tool and an income base. And this is where we at right here. That's the reason why, you know what I'm saying, state marriages don't work and things like that, when traditional marriages will work if you have the proper family dynamic that are vetting the people that are trying to come into their lives as well, and you're trying to go into another family's life and things like that, and to see if those people are compatible, you know, for marriage. One thing that's not being understood, and this needs to be understood with the utmost grace and the utmost understanding. When back in the day, when they had arranged marriages and stuff like that, it was on purpose, because not only did, you know, set couple, hold on, let me go to big screen. Not only did the couple need to be equally yoked, the family unit need to be equally yoked. The grandparents, the parents, you know, uncles, aunties, whoever was there in the family unit, everybody need to be somewhat equally yoked. They had to have somewhat of the same vision, focus, and things like that in order for the union to happen. You know what I'm saying? And this is how things happen in the past. You know what I'm saying? It was a union amongst the family as a whole, because families rule the nation at that point in time, which actually built communities. So we're at this point now where there's no families, there's no community. So now we just have everybody out here marrying willy-nilly and stuff, and then they're wondering why shit is not working out.
The last reason is because marriage is basically purposed to build a family unit. It's not for any other reason but that. And
what did I just say? Yes.
No matter what level of success you do reach, Saida, no satisfaction will give you as much joy and happiness as seeing your family still reunited after all those years. Although my dad invested so much money in me so that I can be the first one in my family to get higher education and come back to rebuild his business so that we can regrow the family wealth, he was willing to settle for this. Because deep down he knows that no satisfaction in the world can ever bring me as much joy as seeing my family intact. And that was the day that I knew my father really, really loves me.
I bet it was. I bet it was. What did she say? That was the day that she knew her father really, really loved her. Out of all the things that her father probably did for her throughout the life, gave her structure, gave her discipline, tried to give her instruction, tried to make sure that she did the right things in life. You know, daughters are a very huge asset to the family, and have always been throughout thousands of years and stuff like that. It's not that the sons haven't, don't get me wrong, but the sons are in a different the sons have always been in a different place for the asset to the family. But the daughters that need to be married off and stuff like that have always been in a strategical place to where we need to have kept them you know, healthy and, you know, maintain their spiritual souls and stuff like that, where they won't get truly corrupted, because women are vessels. And if you pour the wrong thing into women, it doesn't work out well. But yeah, and this is where we at right here. So this father, you know, decided to make sure that, you know, he taught his daughter a lesson and things like that. You know what I'm saying? She figured out, you know, that her father loved her. But, you know, the thing of this is he's always loved her. But the problem is that she decided to rebel and, you know, wanted to pick her own man. And now she's sitting around here talking about, you know, she wants to leave this man because, you know, obviously the way that her mother and father and her also the family and stuff, like the way that she was raised wasn't applicable to the dude that she decided to get with. And the way that he was moving wasn't like the way that her father was moving, maybe her uncles and aunties and her mother and brothers and sisters. It wasn't going to be equally yoked to the family that she grew up in. And she finally came to the realization that her father actually wanted the best for her. I'm glad that she came to that realization and things like that. And she finally figured it out. But it's a lot of people out here that go, I get it. Some families don't have fathers in the household, definitely in today's society and stuff like that, which is a tragedy. Some do, and that's creating a huge issue, but it is what it is, people. A lot of men that have daughters and stuff like that, we mean the best by our daughters, and we want the best, for our daughters and things like that. And, also men that have sons and daughters, stuff like that, we mean the best by our children, period. Regardless of regardless of what child you have, we mean the best by all of our children. And yes, in today's society, man, it's come to this point to where it's a lot of rigmarole, a lot of disrespect being shown online, a lot of ways and entities that are influencing the offspring of everybody and stuff like that. And this is where we at here. But I'm glad to see that this young lady woke up and she saw the light, and hopefully she does better. But this is where we at right here. We have a lot of rebellion. Definitely if you have a good family unit, even with that, you could raise your children up right as much as you can. But once they get out here in the real world, and even if they have strong backgrounds and stuff like that, they may slip for a little bit. And then, the Bible always talks about, if you teach the child the way to go, even if they stray, they would know how to come back home. Technically, I know I didn't, say it exactly the way the Bible said it, but just summing it up. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.